What's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen. Get some.
Lot of pretty girls in LA. A lot of pretty, beautiful. I mean, LA got some pretty girls, man. Got some ugly motherfuckers too, though. Wow, shit. That's the one thing I don't understand about women. Why don't ugly women know they're ugly? That shit bothers me, ladies. How do you not know you ugly, you know? Pretty women know they're pretty. Why don't ugly women know they're ugly, you know? And if you're ugly, ladies, it's cool. I don't blame you. I blame your parents. It's genetics, you know? Because I hate that shit when people say, well, two ugly people can make a pretty baby. Well, that pretty baby's going to be an ugly-ass adult when she grows up and her parents' features kick in. Two ugly people ain't making no pretty adult. Suck my dick. That doesn't happen. You can make a pretty baby. Babies ain't got bones yet. Once that bone structure kicks in, it's a wrap. Make a pretty adult, ugly people. Impress me. Make a pretty adult. Anybody make a pretty baby. That shit ain't hard.
What's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. If you're trying to find the podcast, you can go to my YouTube page. That's youtube.com/GaryOwenCom, or search United We Cast on iTunes, Google Play. Just search my name, Gary Owen, #Get Some. Anyways, we got a lot to cover today. Lots been going on in the sports world. Football season's in full swing. I don't know if you lived under a rock, but Carmelo is now in Oklahoma. Dwayne Wade is now in Cleveland. And Johnny Manziel still is at home. On a personal, let me tell you what just happened in my hotel. Just happened. Before I get into everything, I want to tell you what just happened. I always stay at the same hotel when I come to Los Angeles. It's a little boutique hotel. It's off the beaten path. You would drive by it and right in the middle of Hollywood and wouldn't even know it's a hotel. You would think it's an apartment building. But a lot of people stay here for some reason. Like, it's not unusual for me to walk to the lobby and see Fetty Wap, or to see Vanessa Williams, or to see, a country singer. It's just for some reason, and the reason is there's got a full kitchen. The rooms are big. Like New York and LA, sometimes it's hard to find big hotel rooms. Yesterday, I'm in my hotel room and I left the sliding screen door open. I left the glass door open, sliding glass door open, kept the screen shut so I can get some fresh air in the room. And I hear somebody just arguing on the phone, And it sounded like they were in my room. Well, the person on the left of me was having a full-on argument about something, but it was loud. And it was clearly somebody in the music business. And I was going to record it, but I go, the white me's coming out. I can't do that. So I didn't record. But I heard everything. So I was like, okay, somebody's in the music business to the left of me, and they smoke a lot of cigarettes because a lot of cigarette smoke is coming when they're on the balcony. So I have to shut my screen glass door. So I was going to complain, but I was like, I'll just let it go. Now, the room to the right of me, whose balcony is on the other side of me, they smoke a lot of weed. So I'm getting smoke from the left and weed smoke from the right. And who's ever in the room to the right of me, there's always a party. Every time I hear loud music in the room, they've ordered room service numerous times because I've walked outside and there's been trays. It's just a party. And I'm assuming it's rappers or somebody in the rap business because it's always rap music and hip hop coming out of the room. But I've never actually seen who's in the room. So I'm getting ready to go downstairs and drop some laundry off for dry cleaning. And as I put my hand on the door handle, I hear a knock at the door next to mine. And the guy knocks on the door. So I look through the peephole. And the guy answers the door, and the guy goes, yes, sir, we have a Expedia just sent us an email, and there's fraudulent credit card made this hotel reservation. And the guy goes, really? And the dude goes, yeah. So then the other guy that's in the room goes, yeah, well, we're working on that right now. We're actually rebooking the room right now on another website. He goes, no, you got to go. You got 30 minutes. And I've been staying at this hotel for 3 years. Whenever I come to LA, I stay at the same hotel. The guy that knocked on the door was one of the biggest black guys I've ever seen through a peephole. And I'm like, where has this dude been hiding? Because I've been coming here for years, and they got this guy hidden away in the basement. So when shit pops off, they get him to kick people out. But it was funny because he was so monotone. The conversation sounded like two guys just having a cup of coffee. He goes, and then he said, I got a luggage cart right here to help you out. So he had the luggage cart with him. And the guy just went, okay. Like, he gave no recourse. And all I was thinking was, I imagine there's a police officer downstairs waiting on him. Because they clearly booked that room on a Friday, and we're living it up, by the way. I mean, room service, music playing. And I stayed looking to the people, right? So when I heard the door open, I looked at people again. It was 4 people. It was 3 guys and a girl. They just kept coming, and they looked young. So I was just thinking, wow, that was great. I'm glad I got to witness that. It's great. I just love it. I don't know why it tickled me. It made me feel good. And it just happened. It was great. It was great. Last week I was in New York City. I was at Caroline's. The shows was great. Now I did have an argument at my early show Saturday. When I go on the road, I usually have 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. My 7:30 o'clock show Saturday was one of those shows as a comedian you wish was being taped, because it's one of those things you can't recreate. And for me to retell the story, which I'm about to, it's still not going to do it justice, because you had to be in the room to appreciate it. I'm about 35, 40 minutes into an hour set, and all of a sudden in the back, a guy and girl gets in an argument. I mean, the girl, all I heard was, motherfucker, you don't know me. Da, 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 da. And the guy just went, you shut your mouth. And it was so slow. And the way he said, you shut your mouth. At first, it interrupted the show. And then I just addressed it. And I just said, you can tell that dude's been through a lot in his life. But the slow, monotone way he said, yeah, shut your mouth. It was one of those guys that was about to break into his life story. Like, I've been to prison. I've killed a man. I'm on parole. I've changed my ways. You shut your mouth. You don't want me to turn into the man I used to be. You shut your mouth. I'm a good husband now. I'm raising my kids right. You shut your mouth. I kept saying it in that tone, and the story kept getting better. You shut your mouth. I swear to God, it was that beautiful of a moment in stand-up. And that's why I love my job as a stand-up, because never are 2 shows the same, and never 2 audiences the same. And people were hitting me on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and all they were saying was hashtag, you shut your mouth. And it was just a beautiful moment that I can't recreate. I cannot recreate that. And if anybody was there that night, it's just going to be, no matter what jokes I said that night, it don't matter. If you ask somebody at that 7:30 p.m. show at Caroline's on Saturday in New York City, if they said, how was Gary Owen's show? They're going to be like, yeah, shut your mouth. That's all I'm going to say. Because that's all you're going to take out of that show. It was so just organic. And I think it's one of the reasons I love my job. Because and it was funny because people said afterwards, those 2 hugged. The people that was in the argument end up hugging because they had to start laughing because it was that good. And they said they hugged and they had to laugh about it. I wish everyone could have been there. I wish I was taping a special that night. And I don't like people bootlegging my show, but I wish somebody would have had their phone out and would have recorded it, because you can't recreate that moment. Oh, it was beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see. Now, this Friday, keep in mind, this is stand-up. I go from New York City to this Friday night, September 29th. I'm at the Choctaw Casino in Pocalla, Oklahoma. I don't know where it's at. All right, I'm flying into Fort Smith, Arkansas, and then I heard it's about a 15-minute drive. And so if anybody's in the area, I don't know. Just come out. I'll be at the Choctaw Casino in Pocalla, Oklahoma. And then I fly home Saturday because my daughter's in 10th grade and she got asked to homecoming. So I have to, and I'm chaperoning, which is a good thing. And it's one thing to have your daughter get asked to homecoming. It's another thing when it's a brother that's 6'7", 260. I don't know how I feel about that. He's got a deeper voice than me. And I will say this is when you got good parents. His mom and dad made him call me to ask my daughter to homecoming. He asked permission. So but the only problem is his voice is deeper than mine. So when I picked up, I go, hello?
What's up, Mr. Owen? Hey, this is Paris.
And I said, your name's Paris? Because I've known this kid since he was 7 years old. I was like, PJ? He was like, oh, no, I go by Paris now. And
I would like to take Kenneth's my daughter's name. I'd like to take Kennedy to homecoming.
So I was like, PJ?
I go by Paris now.
It's just weird when you've known a kid that long and now he's a huge human being. So I'll be chaperoning that on Saturday. So I'm going to Choctaw, Oklahoma, Choctaw Casino on Friday. And then Saturday, I'll be chaperoning my daughter's homecoming. Also, I just confirmed I booked Def Comedy Jam, and I'm taping it in 2 weeks Only reason I'm doing it, because I am coming off my own comedy special, is because I've never done it. And it's like a bucket list thing. Like earlier this summer, I did a Showtime at the Apollo because I've never done it. I just wanted to do it. And so Def Jam, the people called, and a lot of people be like, well, you're already done hour specials. Why would you do Def Comedy Jam? I said, because I've never done it. And it's one of the reasons I started doing stand-up. Was I was in high school when Def Comedy Jam came out. And I just remember Martin Lawrence hosting and just seeing all the comics. And I was like, that's the reaction I want. That's the first time I'd seen an audience just run around and lose it. And you could bag on the audience and talk about people. And I was like, yo, that's the reaction I want when I do stand-up. That's the kind of reaction I want. So I'll be doing that in a couple weeks. I think I'm taping October 11th in LA, but I'll have another podcast and I'll give the information when that happens. All right, well, enough about me and where I'm at. Let's talk about what's going on in sports. I'll start with basketball because I'm scared when I get on my Cincinnati Bengals, it's going to be a tirade and we might run out of time and you guys might lose interest. Lots going on in basketball. Dwayne Wade got a buyout with the Chicago Bulls and he's now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I think Stevie Wonder saw this one coming. There's no doubt. When they said Oklahoma's in the running and San Antonio and the Heat, I go, nah. Now, once the money's in the pocket and you've made enough money, not that there ever is enough money, but Dwayne Wade is no longer playing for a contract. He's playing for legacy at this point. And he's like, if I go to Golden State, it doesn't pull as much weight. And not that even Golden State was interested, I don't know. But it clearly doesn't pull as much weight as going to Cleveland. Because if he goes to Cleveland and they end up winning the title next year, then he's going to be like, I was a part of that because they couldn't do it the year before. So that his value is that. And I can't wait because I'm friends with Dwayne and Gab. So tickets are going to be a lot easier this year to go to a Cavaliers game for me on a selfish note. I mean, if Cleveland's a little older, but if everyone can stay healthy and they can manage the minutes, and Derrick Rose is the wild card in all this. Because if D Rose can get back to 85% of what he was when he was the MVP, people aren't thinking about him. They're really not. And it's funny how guys shave 5 years off their career when they start playing with LeBron. I mean, Richard Jefferson was an afterthought, and then he starts playing with LeBron. Birdman wasn't even going to stay in the league anymore. All of a sudden gets with LeBron. People don't remember Greg Oden was able to play basketball with LeBron. Greg Oden was damaged goods. I love that guy, and I hate how his career played out. But he was hurt. He was never healthy. But with LeBron, he was able to get back in the league for somehow. So if D Rose is going to get a lot of open looks, he's not going to be counted on. There'll be no pressure on him. So he's not going to feel like I got to be selfish and I have to score 30. I don't know. It could be interesting. The East is two teams. It's Boston and Cleveland. And you got Toronto, but they're a step behind. And then Milwaukee's going to be, I think, outside of Cleveland, the funnest team to watch because they got some athletes on that team that nobody knows about. So they're gonna be, I think it's obviously gonna be Cleveland and Boston in the Eastern Conference Finals, but Milwaukee and Toronto are gonna be right there, 3-4, and Atlanta will win some games and do some upsets. But I think everybody knows in the end it'll be Boston and Cleveland, and I think Cleveland they'll come out on top just because LeBron's still the X factor, and I don't know when he plans on slowing down. That's just weird that he's been in the league that long and been to the finals that many years, which basically means even though I think he's in his 15th season with playoffs, he's like in his 19th, 20th season as far as games played. So there, and then the West, it is officially the Wild Wild West. It's martial law. You got Golden State, obviously. They're the best. But behind them, Houston, San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Carmelo and Paul George. There's absolutely no defense on that team between Russell Westbrook, Carmelo, and Paul George. I just think you get them three, and then you get like 7 guys that they have like a 3.0 scoring average with 10 rebounds. You don't need no other offensive players. If you want Oklahoma City right now, and your name's not Carmelo, Paul, or Russell, just know you're not getting any shots. None. Don't expect it. There'll be no plays ran from you. I don't care if you're wide open and you're cherry picking. You're still not getting the ball. Those 3 are going to be gunning. They're going to be fun to watch. It's going to be like the old Denver Nuggets when it was like 150 a game. That's going to be Wild Wild West for real. Oklahoma's going to be the funnest team to watch. It's going to be Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Houston is, and with all of them, it's going to take time to build chemistry. That's for sure. And as long as you got Gregg Popovich, you got a shot in the West, because I think he's the best coach in the NBA. I think Popovich gets the most out of his players, and he knows the exact kind of players he wants and is good for his system. So I can't wait for basketball to start. I really can't. It's going to be fun to watch this year. Woo! I can't wait. All right, let's get into NFL football. I don't know where to start. This is where the podcast goes downhill quick. My team, the beloved Cincinnati Bengals, are now 0-3. Lost to the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers just did what Aaron Rodgers did. And look, I love Andy Dalton. He's a nice guy. I think he's a solid NFL quarterback. And I've always said he's solid. I always said he's not. We clearly know he's not Aaron Rodgers and he's not Tom Brady, but who is? But to see him go head-to-head with Aaron Rodgers like that, that's where you see a great quarterback up against a good quarterback. Because when the pocket breaks down with Andy, he gets a little happy feet. He doesn't have some of the reads that Aaron can move around that pocket so smooth. And look, at the end of that game, I'm watching it, and there was no doubt when it was 24-17 that Aaron Rodgers was going to take them down and score. There wasn't a doubt in my mind, and he just did it. And I will say my favorite thing about watching that Bengals-Packers game was Tony Romo. In one game, he's my favorite announcer. It's just like he was calling the plays before they happened. Like, as soon as he saw what defense was lined up, he goes, okay, this is a run pass. Whatever play is called, this is on Andy. He has an option to do the run or the pass. And at one time, Andy called a run. He goes, you can't call that. You got to pass that ball. There was 5 guys in the box. You can't let your running back hang out to dry like that. I was like, is he a coach? The best of the whole day was it was the fourth quarter. Andy Dalton says hike, and Romo goes, he's open. He's open. And you're like, and then Andy gets sacked, and it was funny because Romo does the replay, and sure enough, Brandon LaFell, number 11, was doing a crossing pattern. He was wide open, and Romo's just in the microphone. He's open. I loved hearing him talk. He called so many plays before they happened. He just called it. Yeah, this should be an 8-yard out right here. Yeah, this situation, Aaron Rodgers is going to roll back. He would call, on my life, 85% of the plays he called run pass. Yeah, it's going to be a pass at a tight end. Yeah, he's going to go the fullback here. I was like, how is he calling all this? I don't know. He became my favorite announcer in one game. I didn't know it was him at first because luckily it was game of the week. I didn't have to go to a bar to watch the game. I could watch the game in my hotel room. But I didn't know it was Romo till like halfway through the first quarter. And then they went up and I saw it. I go, oh, that's when Romo calling this? And then I started really dissecting it because of all the press and all the big contract he got. But I get it. I didn't get it, but now I get it. I was like, oh, okay. That guy should be a head coach somewhere or a coordinator. I was like, dude, can he just join the Bengals now and be our coach and quarterback right now? He was that good. Other takeaways outside the Bengals, because I know we got nationwide listeners. I'm always going to get my Super Bowl picks every week, and it could change every week. Atlanta's been solid. I think it was Dallas first, but I think Atlanta's the best team, and they're from top to bottom. They just got it. They got it. Matt Ryan looks locked in. They got a lot of athletes. It hurts me to see Mohamed Sanu ball out like he does in Atlanta, and we had him in Cincy. He's a great number 2. I think even he knows he's not a number 1. He's a great number 2 behind A.J. Green and Julio Jones. It's almost like a Trevor Ariza NBA. Like when he was with the Lakers, he balled out. When they tried to make him the man in Houston, that's not what he's suited for. He's a complimentary player, and he can ball out when the pressure's not on him. So Atlanta is still my Super Bowl pick for the NFC. The AFC, I've been going with Oakland, but until somebody beats Kansas City, I don't know. I think I fight it because they're very much like the Bengals. They just don't do it in the playoffs. Like they can't put it all together. But man, they look good. That Kareem Hunt and Tyreek Hill and defense. And the thing about it was, like Travis Kelce balls out one week and next week he catches 2 balls. And I don't think anybody's going to ever really think outside of Kansas City is legit. And they'll always say Alex Smith and everything. But the way they're playing this year, they look tough through the first 3 weeks. So if you're going to ask you right now who the 2 best teams are, I say Kansas City and Atlanta, week 3 picks. And look, this happens a lot in my podcast. I'm about to go back to the Bengals again because let me tell you what really got under my skin. We draft this guy, this Elliott kid out of Memphis in the 5th round. He's our kicker. We bring in Randy Bullock, and look what happens last week. The Bengals are up 21-14. They drive down to the 30. Andy Dalton takes a sack. A 35-yard field goal becomes a 48-yard field goal, and Randy Bullock misses it. No, the Bengals draft this kid out of Memphis, this Jake Elliott, who's got a cannon for a leg, and then they cut him. So he gets on a practice squad. Philadelphia picks him up, and look what happens last week. Bullock misses a pressure kick, and Elliott hits a field goal to send the game into overtime. For the Philadelphia Eagles, by the way, the Eagles picked up Elliott. Then he hits a 61-yarder in overtime to win the game. He don't even know anybody on the Eagles right now. When they interview him after the game, he goes, "Hey, who was the first guy that picked you up?" He goes, number 16. He don't even know the guy's names on his own team. I don't think he knows the coach's name. The players ran out and carried him off the field. They didn't even know who he was. Oh, okay, Jake. They was calling him like Gerald, Jamie, Jebediah. Oh, okay, Jake. Yeah, he's our kicker. They had no clue. Like, it's just classic Cincinnati. That's what makes it so frustrating. Like, this guy's making clutch kicks to go into overtime to win the game. And our guy, which could have took the wind out of the sails of Green Bay, that was a big play to me. The Bengals go up 10. We're like, okay. It hurts, man. Now, the other big news in NFL was obviously the national anthem. Donald Trump made just irresponsible comments about the NFL. Just, you can't say that, kick that son of a bitch out, kick him off the field. You're the president. You can't say that. And so the NFL showed unity, and some guys took a knee, some didn't. And I think what kills me about Trump and the rhetoric is it's just never about the flag, and it's never about the military. Because here's my thing. I'm ex-military. I never cared if you stood, if you took a knee, if you take a nap. I don't care. My thing is, I always stood, and the beauty of the national anthem is not if you're standing or kneeling. The beauty was always the silence that was in a football stadium and hearing people sing along with the national anthem. That's the beauty of the song. And you're only disrespectful to me if you interrupt that. If you talk during the national anthem, that's disrespectful. If you're making jokes or cutting up, or if you're interfering from anyone else kneeling or standing, that's disrespectful. You taking a knee has no effect on. No, you're not disrupting me from enjoying the national anthem at all. And this is the elephant in the room. Until white people can finally admit that a lot of white people are scared of black people, and a lot of white people think less of black people. Until a lot of white people can say that is the core of the problem, we're not going to go anywhere. But no, white people want to be like, no, we're in denial. No, that's not it. We don't think that way. We're not scared of black people. Here's the thing. If you have no interaction with black people at all, none, how are you not somewhat afraid if you go by how the media portrays black people? You would have a little apprehension. So it's ingrained in you that black guys are criminals or thugs or rappers, and it's a culture. And here's the thing with me, it got blown up in my face early because I didn't grow up around a lot of black people, but let me tell you the few black guys I had interaction with growing up that is the reason I never was quote unquote afraid or thought less of black people. One was the ice cream truck driver that drove the ice cream to the trailer park. Name was Sonny. Cool dude. Great guy. If you was short on, let's say you wanted a ice cream cone, and the ice cream cone's at 30 cents. If you had a quarter, Sonny still gave you the ice cream cone. All the kids loved Sonny in the trailer park. Everybody had a little fro. Sometimes he would have his daughters in the ice cream truck with him. Everybody loved him. And then it was funny because I lived in Ohio at the time, which I still do, but growing up, I lived in a trailer park in Ohio. And so the ice cream truck usually comes between April to the end of September. That's when he comes. Like once a day, it'll come through. So come April, right, usually around Easter, mid-April, you would hear the ice cream trucks start coming again. And for about 4 or 5 years, we always knew Sonny was going to be driving it. Then one year, I was probably 15, 16. He wasn't driving it anymore. It was an older white dude, right? And I'll never forget, my next door neighbor says, about time we got a white guy driving the ice cream truck. And the guy goes, huh? He goes, yeah, we had a black guy driving the ice cream truck last year. He was about to get his ass kicked. And I was like, no, he wasn't. I was like, Sonny's been coming here for years. You've never said shit to him. And now that he's not here,
You want to yell? Yeah, I'm about to get his ass kicked.
It's like, no, he wasn't. I remember being like, I was 15 or 16 looking like, motherfucker, you pussy ass motherfucker. He was never going to get his ass. Everybody loves Sonny. But I don't know. That was the mentality of that neighbor we had. So that was the first male black adult I had interaction with was Sonny. And I made a joke about it in my act sometimes where I said, if you're a white person and you're never around black people and you're going off the media, so you're thinking of thugs and killers and everything, drug dealers, things like that. When I saw black guys, I always thought of sundaes and sprinkles and popsicles and whipped cream. And I thought of good thoughts when I saw black guys. I thought of ice cream, in an ice cream truck. And the other interaction I had, I had a sixth grade gym teacher who ended up being my football coach. His name was Mr. Edwards. He was a black guy, and I'll never forget my first day of school in sixth grade. I was talking when he was talking our first day of school, and he looked at me. He was like, "Hey, no talking in my class. What do you want to be, a comedian or something?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm still in touch with him this day. He still tells me that I said that with so much conviction that he had to switch gears. He goes, because he was going to be like, "We want to be a comedian or something?" When I said, "Yeah," he said, "Your eyes lit up." He was like, "Dude, I had to well, not in my class. No talking in my class." And so he was a positive influence in my life, Mr. Edwards, because my sixth grade gym teacher who ended up being my football coach in high school. And we just always had a good relationship. And the other one was the best man at my wedding. And to this day, one of my best friends was a guy named Paul Johnson. And he moved to my school in 10th grade. And he was a black guy, and he was on a wrestling team with us, and we bonded wrestling. And it ended up that I would always go hang out at his house. There was 2 kids I would hang out with growing up, and I just didn't want to be home because of my stepdad. I didn't want to be home because he was just a bad dude to be around, very negative and physically, mentally abusive. I didn't want to be around it. So I would always go over either my buddy's Mike's house, who was a white kid, or Paul, who was a black kid after 10th grade. And Paul lived with his mom and dad, and they was cool. And it was a very calm environment to be around. And I just like hanging out over there. So I never looked at black guys like that. It was all the black guys I came in contact with growing up was always cool. And look it was basically 3 of them. It was the ice cream truck driver. It was my sixth grade gym teacher who ended up being my high school football coach. And it was this guy, Paul Johnson, and his family, his mom and dad. It's like, so I never had that. I never had the bad experience, and I never went off to what the media said. And then when I went to boot camp, my bunkmate was a guy named Copera Washington from South Carolina. And he had pictures mailed from home, and he was sitting on a John Deere tractor. And I was like, "Well, you live on a farm?" And he was like, "Nah, man. I mean, you don't." I said, "We on vacation?" He goes, "No, I live on a farm." And I go, "Black guys don't live on farms." And that's when he grabbed the brother from Georgia, brother from Alabama, brother from Mississippi. He goes, "Tell me what you told me, Gary." I go, "Black guys live on farms." And he pulled the old do the right thing. They all went, "Oh man, you don't even talk about." So that was, my mind was blown then. And I've said that story in the past, but it resonates with me. And the good thing about the military, as far as race relations, is everybody's broke. When you enlist in the military, everybody's making the same amount of money in boot camp. So you're not better or worse than anybody. And you all have to come together to get through boot camp. You can't do it by yourself. And that's the beauty of sports too. You got to come together. And it really bugs me when people try to bring up money when it comes to sports. Because they always be like, these $1 million athletes are so out of touch with society. I go, no, they're not. No, they're not. Most of these $1 million athletes, first of all, majority of the NFL, you see the $1 million contracts, but that's not how much they have in the bank, because you have taxes, you have an agent, you have a lawyer, you have to pay these people, and they're not there. If let's say if you make $3 million a year, let's say, you don't get a $3 million check. No, you get a check this week, you get a check next week, and it's for hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it doesn't make you out of touch with society. It's almost like the mentality when I was growing up. I went to public school, and I remember a lot of people in my family would always look down on private school kids. And it's not that they look down on them like, they were bad people. It was just like they were better than us. And I hated that mentality because whenever you would play like a Catholic all boys high school in any kind of sport, it would always like a lot of the public schools and the people that I grew up with would be like, oh, look at them. They think they're better than us, you know? And what the fact is, now that my kids go to private school, what I found out is a lot of the kids that go to these private schools, they're the ones that want to reach back and help those kids and help the people that don't have a lot. So when you grow up, hopefully you're in a position that you could send your kids to private school. And now that what I was able to do was not get caught up in that mentality, and now I'm able to send my kids to those private schools, and I don't feel guilty about it. And when I see people still talk that way, I'm like, no, it ain't like that. Those kids are good kids. Let me tell you, when my son was a freshman at high school, we had to go to a freshman orientation, and he's a junior now. And I remember this little blonde hair, blue-eyed kid was taking us around. The kid was no more than like 5'9", didn't look big or nothing. He was the most polite kid and and answered all me and my wife's questions and said, you know, your son's going to love it here. And Moeller's a community. We're all brothers and stuff. And then I go to a football game the next week, and the same kid that was taking me around and was polite and helpful was a fucking animal on that football field. I didn't realize it was him. Like, I was looking around like, dude, that little number, like, let's 16, I remember his number. That little number 16 is pretty good. I go, the way he played on the football field, you would have thought he was rude. He was getting in bar fights. He was a freaking animal. And I was like, hold on. That's the kid that was taking me and my wife around the school? So I got sidetracked there, but this all goes back to Trump's comments. They always, people like, it's not a race thing. It really is. And then you got the NASCAR guys coming out saying, if anybody disrespects the flag, you know, we're going to kick them off. And Trump just feeds in that, thank you, NASCAR. If you notice, everybody Trump thanks is white. And it's to the point where it's just like, people keep saying it's not about race, but it is. Until we acknowledge it, we're not going to move forward. You know, I don't think you're not any better if you're a fan and you're booing and heckling a player kneeling than you think that player is. That's just as disrespectful. You don't talk and you don't make any comments till that national anthem's done being played. And there's not been one person in the NFL that has disrupted anybody else from standing or kneeling on the sidelines. That to me is the disrespect. I'll always stand, always continue to stand, because I'm ex-military. And when the national anthem's played, it gives me that 2.5, 3 minutes to just remember my military days, remember my buddies, remember guys that have passed away. It takes me back to that place. But if I was an NFL player, I would have my hand on the guy's shoulder that decided to kneel. And I would have a discussion with them. That's the thing. Nobody wants to talk. No, this whole Donald Trump, it's real easy to fix, man. You invite Colin Kaepernick to the White House. You invite Malcolm Jenkins to the White House. You invite Ray Lewis to the White House. I mean, Ray's been to the White House. You invite guys from both ends of the spectrum. And you invite, Tom Brady should come. Aaron Rodgers should come. Adrian Peterson should come. Like, all these guys that are the stars, the alpha males in the room, get them with a sit down with the president. And look, I almost want to say, don't make it private. Let the cameras in. Let us know what's being said behind closed doors. And don't use it as a photo op. That's what kills me. Don't have some discussion with Steve Harvey and Ray Lewis and then come out and take a picture with them and say we had a great discussion. We don't know that. Let us know what you talked about. And then people won't be so quick to attack Ray or Steve. I just think it's not an easy solution. But until we have open communication without everybody attacking each other, you know, instead of the Warriors coming to the White House, why doesn't Donald Trump fly to Oakland and meet them, you know, or go to them in a city? If they come to D.C., Donald Trump, you go to them and you have a sit down with them and talk openly. I mean, it would do so much for everybody. Because here's the thing in America, we love a comeback story. We love a comeback. I mean, and Donald Trump is so hated by now by so many people. It'd be the ultimate comeback story if he would just have an open discussion. But when you're over 70 and you're stuck in your ways, I don't think it's going to happen. It's like Gregg Popovich said, sometimes for change to happen, you have to make people uncomfortable. And that's what's happening right now. And here's the thing. I bet you 90% of the people that are booing or saying you don't take a knee or whatever, if you saw that player that plays for your team in your city, you'd still ask him for an autograph. You still ask him for a picture with your kid. So don't be acting like you hate him. Try to understand him, because here's what I see. When I see Colin Kaepernick kneeling, when I see all these athletes taking a knee for the national anthem, I don't see them disrespecting the national anthem. I don't see them disrespecting this country. I see somebody in pain. I see somebody that's hurting. I see somebody that's crying out for help. That's what I see. Because you don't just take a knee like that unless you're hurting and you want something to change. That's what I see. And instead of these people making this about the flag and the military, there's been so many military people that said, we don't take this as a sign of disrespect. We get it. I don't ever claim to understand what it's like to be black, because I don't know. But what I do know is I want to listen. I want to know what your problem is, and then we can have a discussion about it. I had a discussion with my good friend Paul, the one that I grew up with, when the Trayvon Martin case happened. And we had an open discussion about, was it justified? Wasn't it? How do we know that he didn't fear for his life? Everything else. And what my buddy Paul said, like, Gary, he had a gun. He had a gun. He went into a fight with a kid and he knew he had a gun. So he knew he had the trump card. He knew he had the ace in the hand. I said, he whips that gun out immediately, like, yo, I got a gun. Nobody confronts him. You know what I mean? But I was like, you know what? You're right. You're right. So that opened my eyes. Like, yeah. And then you see the way, Zimmerman's acted since then. So there's not a doubt in my mind that that didn't go down like he said it did. And there's something humbling about taking an ass whooping every now and then. I got my ass whipped in 7th grade, and it helped me in life. This dude hit me so fast, I was like, whoa, I just got hit. I mean, it was amazing how fast he hit my eye. I was like, bink, dike. That's how I felt. It's helped me so much in life. I learned not to talk smack to the wrong people. I'm very aware of my surroundings. Not like maybe that's what Donald Trump needs, man. Just a good ass whooping. And then he's like, whoa, okay, now I get it. Just get your ass whooped one time. It helps you out in life. It really does. I really want to thank that dude that hit me. Obviously, next week, hopefully, things will get better. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough with Trump in office, But I do like the unified front that the players and owners are trying to show, whether they mean it or not. They're showing good faith. Sometimes you got to go in and try to see it from somebody else's point of view. When I see somebody kneeling, and especially this week, when I see somebody putting their fist up and not just standing with their hand over their heart for the national anthem, I don't think they're trying to be disrespectful. I don't think they're trying to just, cause a ruckus. I see somebody in pain. I see somebody crying out for help. That's what I see. And I don't know why more people aren't bringing that up. That's somebody that is hurting on the inside. When the dude from the Dolphins was literally in tears talking about his daughter, and a lot of these guys are scared about. They're scared about the world that their kids are going to grow up in. How do you not respect that as a parent? And here's the thing: the same people that say these $1 million athletes, they don't know what it's like. They're out of touch with society. Those same people, 90% of them are white. So if you're saying these $1 million athletes have no idea what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck and just, get by, then you got to be like, well, okay, but you don't know what it's like to be black either. So I don't want to get too deep on this podcast. I just want to, maybe I should end with a joke. Yeah, I got to leave it on a light note. But all the jokes I know are racist, and this is not the time to tell a racist joke. I can't get all deep and tell a black joke. Nope, not going to do it. Anyways, like I said, I'll be in Choctaw Casino this Friday night in Pensacola. I don't even know if I'm saying that right, Oklahoma. And then thank you, everyone in New York City, especially the guy and girl that got in an argument. You shut your mouth. Look, man, if the Bengals don't win this week, I'm not doing my podcast anymore. Because I'm starting to think, ever since I had a podcast, they haven't won a game. So maybe it's my fault. I'm thinking it's me. If I miss a week of this podcast and they win, you'll never hear me do a podcast again. So I need these guys to win so I can continue my podcast. I'm starting to think it's me, man. But anyways, I'm gonna sign off disappointed. But listen, let's just try to have an open mind with people. Try to think outside the box. And it's another reason why I always travel with my kids. I always find that kids that travel have an open mind and have an open discussion and are open to other cultures and open to the way other people think. And that's why every year I take my kids to a different city. And I'm lucky enough to be in a position where I'm able to do that. I'm not under any false pretense like, why didn't everybody just travel? No. But you could take a car ride. You could take a car ride out of your neighborhood too. You can go an hour outside of where you live and it's a whole nother world. So I don't want to be like you have to go to a different city, but I always tell people travel. Take your kids to different places and experience different things. It really helps them grow and their minds grow. And those are the people that can have open discussions when they become adults, when things like this arise. It's those people that never leave their area and they stay in their bubble and they live in this bubble and they don't have discussions and they don't have interactions with people that don't think other than the way they think. And I think that's the root of the problem. A lot of these people do not have open minds. So, all right, I don't want to get on my high horse. This has been a long one. I appreciate you guys. Listen to Gary Owen Podcast. If you want to know where I'm going to be in your city, just go to GaryOwen.com. My Facebook is Facebook.com/Gary Owen. And then my Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat is @GaryOwenComedy. One word. Oh, I don't want to forget. Make sure you leave comments and reviews on iTunes when you're listening to my podcast. It helps with everything. It just helps. So if you're listening, leave a review. And, if you're going to leave a star, make sure it's 5 stars. Always. But yeah, it helps. I read them myself. And then also my YouTube. Always go to my YouTube and leave comments if you like what I'm talking about. And even if you don't, tell me what you don't like. I'm open to constructive criticism. Now, don't just say you fucking suck. That doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't help at all. I got one guy, he comments all the time on YouTube, you race baiter. How's it feel to be a race baiter? Okay. Can you give me specifics? I'm okay if you felt like, Gary, you felt rushed. Slow it down. Or you talk about the Bengals too much. I'm okay with that. Let me know. If you want me to talk about your team, let me know if I'm neglecting your team. So yeah, the YouTube is youtube.com/GaryOwenCom is the YouTube page. And you can find the podcast on there. And we put it up there immediately after I get done on the air. All right, y'all. Well, I'll see you guys next week. Gary Owen, get some.